Thank you, Mr. Bernhardt. Congratulations on the nomination. I know we've met before in your previous hearing. One of the areas that I want to focus on is the Interior Department policy or initiative on the energy dominance policy. It appears that that policy extends to oil and gas, but it doesn't extend to other forms of energy development on public lands, such as solar, wind, and geothermal. And I noted on, just while you've been at the Department of Interior, a couple of things have already happened that imply your support, more so of the fossil fuel industry. Repealed the regulations on oil and gas hydraulic fracturing on public lands, rescinded the regulations preventing emissions of methane from oil and gas production on public lands. You rushed to prepare for an oil and gas lease sale in the Arctic National Wild Refuge. You proposed to open essentially the entire coast of our country to outer continental shelf oil and gas development. Repealed the offshore oil and gas safety regulations put in place by the Obama administration after the devastating BP Horizon disaster, and you opened vast areas of what had formerly been protected as part of the Grand Staircase Escalante and Bears Ears National Monuments to oil, gas, and coal leasing. So I guess my question to you is, why isn't the department giving the same level of intensity to cleaner forms of energy development that it is giving to fossil fuel development? Can you address that, please?
So first off, I really appreciate the question. I don't think I can name a policy where we've not treated, like, for example, solar, wind, equally fairly.
So what have you done? Can you just explain to me what you've done to support cleaner energy, same as you've done to support oil and gas? And
so we have a number of renewable projects that are in our Fast 41 process, which is a expedited NEPA review. We also have aggressively leased offshore wind areas on the East Coast. So I think we're moving at about the same clip. And so I would really, and the process improvements I just talked about apply to everybody. So I'm just honestly not, I'm happy to look at that and see if the statistics line up. And if they do, I'd love to talk to you about it, because our position is not that one project should move faster than the other. My position is we should move them all better and more effectively, irrespective of type. We need to give people an answer and then move on. And
so, I appreciate that, and I look forward to working with you. But here's my other concern. Yesterday, it was reported on CNN that during the 35-day government shutdown earlier this year, BLM, under your supervision, approved 267 drilling permits and 16 leases applied for by oil and gas companies. 2 of your former lobbying clients are among the companies that received approval for this application. And this is during a time that you recalled some, but not all, furloughed workers who regularly review these applications. It is also my understanding that such supporting staff that contribute to these application reviews, such as those that review details concerning environmental and cultural resources, remained furloughed during this period. And on February 15th, you were quoted in the Carlsbad Current Argus that work on oil and gas development continued, and I quote, "Because the fees were still coming in, there's also safety. We need to keep things safe. We need to keep things going. I'm very comfortable with what we did during the lapse. We could do more next time," unquote. So I guess my question is, what exactly was the safety component applied to your decision to continue with the oil and gas permitting during the furloughs and during the government shutdown?
I really appreciate that question, because that specific reference, during the shutdown, our Bessie, the Bureau of Safety and Environment, was continuing critical inspections and permitting on offshore vessels. And we did those activities throughout the continental shelf. And so that was the safety issue I was specifically speaking about. The reality is that the Department of the Interior has a very complex budgetary framework. And what that means, and becomes important after people miss a couple of paychecks, what that means is there was money to do certain things and not necessarily everything. For example, the Park Service only receives 1-year money. Other states, other bureaus receive multi-year money. So we'd have money that we had not obligated that we could spend, and then fee revenue can be spent right away. So I'd be happy to walk you through each of those accounts to show you what we did. But I made a decision during the shutdown that we were going to put people back to work because I could guarantee that they'd get paid. And I didn't know how long this was going to take. And I can tell you, I had employees that were calling our ethics office to see if they could sell their plasma. And so I made a decision to put folks to work that I could and that we had resources for.
I notice my time is out, and I'll submit the rest of my questions for the record. Thank you.